You got a handle? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start again. Diane introduced herself to everyone, right? So, and Mary, that's on her, and whoever else is going to be joining us in the background is going to get a good window of what we're going to be working on. I like starting on time. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, how many people even know what disc is yet now?
I do.
Yes? You starting to understand it? Wow, Miss Lindsay's in the house at 8:30 in the morning. I'm pretty impressed. That is pretty exciting. The disc is a pretty amazing tool. How many of you have actually read your disc?
Part of it, yeah.
Part of it, yeah. We scanned it, right? So when you get, and Denise is walking in the door, and Miss Lindsay, good morning. And we are ready to start. So one of the things that for those of you, obviously, everybody in the room knows who I am, right? We don't need to start all that. Miss Mary is joining us in Grass Valley. She's in Linda, right, Miss Mary? Mary Bean?
No, she's in work bases.
Oh, home base. Okay. So the DISC stands for what? So the D is dominant.
Oh, okay.
The I is the influencer in some reports. The S is steady and stable, and the C is compliant. As Miss Compliant comes walking in the door.
Not so compliant she could be on time.
Good morning, Miss Karen. I'm in shock right now.
Yeah.
So
before the staff people got here. That's impressive.
that was extremely impressive.
The sky for pigs flying.
They were, literally. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Coach April Valstero, the in-house coach for One Light Ahead, and we are going to be going over the DISC profiles this morning. Some of you should, Denise, did everybody get the DISC profiles in their emails? Yes, you got them. I know I've seen all three of yours. So Miss Anu, Tammy, and Lori, and you got yours, right?
I've done it through a different one. I didn't do this one, but I haven't received it yet.
Okay. So Anu, do you remember what your leading behavior style is? Peacemaker? Okay. And do you remember the letter?
Mm-hmm.
So on your report, you should have a D, I, S, and C.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Okay. You guys have a different report than, you guys have a new report that you guys are using.
It's still this.
It's still this, right?
Yeah, but they're longer now.
So one of the things that I want you to understand why we're doing the DISC, and I use this quote, one of my old assistants used to track me and my quotes, and she used to put them on paper for me. And I thought it was really interesting. It says, the canvas in your mind is a starting place to create powerful experiences internally and externally. Would you all agree on that? So, and it's so funny, you don't realize you say things until somebody gives them back to you. By the way, your behavior, does it show up as an outward action? Does everybody get to watch who you are? Good morning. As Letty comes walking in the door. I love it.
We shall reward those who attend.
Oh, look at you go. And so she brought food in the door as well. So those are actually in the room.
Like
Actually,
my eye.
we didn't know that, right? So one of the things that we want you to see is to learn about other people's behavior. You get to see their outward behavior, but you don't get to understand what's happening inside to cause the outward behavior. So we want you to understand some concepts of it. Questions before we start? Okay. So what are we going to learn today? We're going to learn the value of adapting your style. We're going to learn how to identify by listening and observing. We're also going to understand the ways to adjust. So if I have a behavior style that is normally an S, that operates from an S naturally, and I get in their face, are they going to have a little bit of a concern?
Oh, yeah.
Just a little, right? So one of the things you want to start paying attention to is understanding the ways to adjust. Validate your own. Is it important to know yourself well? Is it important to know that, by the way, how many people know what behavior style I lead with? Without even, yeah. Very good. So, and we'll learn more about that. Others, team styles. By the way, if you're building a team, it's important to have people that compliment you. Yes, if you end up choosing somebody that's exactly like you, what's going to happen?
It's gonna be
In some cases, yeah. Or you're going to butt heads. You're going to hit a lot of roadblocks. And it's important to create your income from your growth. Okay. Any questions on what we're learning? Everybody okay with that? Everybody's bought in. Obviously, you're here. So, how many people know that in 7 seconds I've made an impression? So I put wow, Shan is in the house at 8:30 this morning. Good morning. One of the opportunities is to learn that right off the bat, in 7 seconds, I've made an impression. That's all I get, 7 seconds. So if I walk in the door and I'm going like this, I've got my head bowed, am I going to show somebody how confident I am?
Yes.
That's a concern, right? If I walk in unprepared, am I going to show somebody how concerned and how much I'm putting them as a priority?
Yes.
Right. By the way, if I am speaking without any clarity, the spoken word only has 7%. Is it important to be on purpose about what you say and how you say it? That's only 7%. So if I talk like this, will you be really bored by the time we end this class? That would be ridiculous, right? So the tonality, the projection, the voice that I use, that actually gives me 38%. Now, the last one. Can anybody read it from there? What does it say?
Spoken word?
The one nonverbal.
Nonverbal. Oh.
So nonverbal is 55%. So by the way, if I'm on the phone and I'm talking like this, is that a bit of a problem? Now, for those that can't see me, I'm actually literally upside down. Is that going to come across on the other side of the phone? If I'm not smiling, is it going to come across on the other side of the phone? When I get, and by the way, I'm going to be a perfect example because I walked in the door and I totally, when I didn't see the text go out and I didn't see certain things come into play, I totally was not sure how many people were going to be in this room. So I'm a living example of my wrong expectation for the morning, right? So I want to congratulate everyone that chose to get their tail out of bed this morning and said, let me be on purpose. Great job. We can't get surprised. It's always an exciting thing. With that, if I get on the phone and I don't expect anybody to want to talk to me, what am I going to get?
Nobody talking to you.
Yeah, not very often, right? Or the response is not going to be a very pretty thing, right? So, and by the way, for some behavior styles, the D's and the I's especially, do we talk fast? This young lady got to experience a classroom presentation I did for Southern Mount School District yesterday, Monday. I had a half an hour to cover a whole lot of information. And we walked out and she goes, you were like a firehouse, like a fire hose. She's like, oh my gosh, you know. It was like so much information, so fast. And it was just an awareness that I only had 30 minutes. And she's like, I'm going to give you 2 hours next time because you've got so much to cover. So one of the things that you've got to be aware of is that some behavior styles they'll get shut down the minute you start talking. Because until you slow down and adapt, now how many of you paid attention to the natural and adaptive style on your report? Okay, so I want you to put that on your radar. Okay, and how many people understand the reticular activator system real quick? Okay, so let me educate a few of you what the reticular activator system is and why I want you to be conscientious about it as we walk through this class. The reticular activator system is a system inside your brain that is basically saying, the car you drive, Miss Shanna. A fusion. How many fusions do you see on the road?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. So your reticular activator system is operating on the fusion because you have one. It's now on your radar. If you are a natural S or a natural D, are you going to naturally draw all those behavior styles? About 25% of that population is going to be naturally drawn to you if you're open to it. Now the adaptability is the opportunity to draw more. That's the whole concept of income for growth, right? So pay attention to the natural and the adaptive. What you naturally operate is who you are. How you adapt, now, and Lori's probably one of the, Lori and a couple others, you have a huge adaptability. And she has the ability to basically be the chameleon and adapt. Karen has that ability as well in some aspects. I tease it. What's that?
I said chameleon's usually a bad term. It's a good concept.
Yes, that's a very good point. So this is an example. It's a little bit fuzzy. I have like 3 or 4 different books that I operate. I've been training the DISC behavior style since 2002, and it was known to me as the bull, the lion, the owl, and one other. What's that? The bull, yeah. It's very deep. So the D's were the bull because they had no problem. My mom was a really big D, and I was telling her, I've watched her grow this last couple of years, and she's no longer, I tell her she's no longer the bull in the training cabinet. So one of the things that I want you to see on the screen, and those that are listening on the web, these are just kind of a visual concept of how this works. So the D's, those are the dominants, those are the bulls, right? The I's are the influencers. They're all about people and atmosphere. And then the ones that are in the middle, now some of you will get, Diane was making a comment the other day, she says we're like twins. And I saw your disc and I'm like, yes, we're like twins. The fun part about having a DI influence is that can you make an impact in your community?
Yes.
Are you a leader naturally?
Yes.
Absolutely. And by the way, in the Keller-Williams system, the D and I is well known to be one of the top team leaders, the top leaders of teams, however you want to look at it. The other spot, when you get into DC, what words do you see up there? Issues and logic. Now, by the way, how many are open to some visual perceptions? Okay, so those of you who haven't heard me teach on the disc before, I want you just to get a visual mind. And I'm going to, for those here in the audience, they get to actually see this. So let's just picture all 4 of these D, I, S's, and C's are running a race. You ready? Okay, so we're going to start with the D. The D is running the race so fast, they have absolutely no problem to complete the race and win no matter who's in the way. Would you agree? The I's. You ready? Everybody want to have fun?
Yeah.
Want to have a party? Come on. Let's go. You ready? Come on. You want to go? All right. Let's right. Okay. Got the I's, right? The S's. Now, have you started to hear my tonality change? The S's are, come on, you can do this. Come on. Go ahead. You can do this. I'll help you over the block. I'll help you over this. Anyone relate with that? S's. Everybody's got to finish, right? My favorite, just a tad bit of sarcasm. The C's. Which way is the wind blowing?
Why do I have to run?
Exactly. You don't have a C in the room, right? How long is this race? How much time do I have to commit to this? Who says I have to do it if I win? They're related over here. So now, by the way, for those of you that are D's and I's, how much do you enjoy C's? Well, one of the things, can you tell that there's some relating right now, right? Because the C's take much longer to make a decision. So one of the things I had to learn when I first got into the real estate business is if I had a C sitting in front of me, I had to give them the contract, let them read over it, come back. Or be prepared to walk them through every single line, every single detail, and then say, take it home and come back. Because most C's won't make a decision in the time frame that a D and I want you to make a decision. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. So when I talk about issues and logic, is it important for you to know your numbers?
Yes.
Is it important for you to know your statistics? The D's and C's that are, especially, and I tease Karen and she'll allow me to say this, correct? Thank you. Because I asked permission to do that.
Something
Yeah, that's okay. So one of the things that I watch with Karen is that when she is not things aren't moving fast enough for her because the C wants to get things done in a certain amount of time, she becomes a D overnight in seconds. Like, let's get this done. Because the C wants to be so compliant, so on purpose, and not miss anything. They want to cross their T's and dot their I's all the time. Do you want C's in your life, by the way?
Yes.
All the time. We value C's a lot more than we realize, especially when we pay attention and we focus on it and see what value there is, okay? Where the C's, if they're all C's, they're very rules and exactness. And the SCs also have very big routines. My son, he's very much of a C, and he was the type of person, if you said, literally, I'll give you a joke in the aspect, if I told him to get his tail out of the room, he literally put the tail out of the room. I mean, that's just how he operates in the exactness, right? He also liked routines. If things were done at a certain time, they better be done at a certain time. Because, by the way, is consistency a requirement for the C's? Because they need to see that logic. They need to see that routine. Are you following me? Are you starting to see how important it is to be aware? Because even on S's, they like to own teams. They like security. When I say security, when you walk into an S, like I said earlier, if I walk up and I confront them, am I going to have a concern? They're not going to tell me I have a concern. They're just going to disappear. Seriously. They really will not tell me that because they don't like confrontation, they don't like, they're just going to disappear. Where they also want to know, excuse me, that you're going to be supported. That I'm going to know that you've got my back. Are you following me? And they're going to want to be all about family, all about joining, unity, etc. Are you following me? Okay. Where the other aspect is, if they've also got I, they're going to go into the helping and serving. You have a huge I, right? Yeah. I've seen it. But by the way, how do I know for sure that I have two I's in the room? Look at what they're wearing.
Nice.
Seriously, I mean, it's a boldness that is comfortable of an I. Now, by the way, one of the things I'm going to tell you, and remember, I'm looking at the radar, reticular activator system, don't prejudge all the time. Just start gathering information. I've been wrong, and I've been teaching this for 13 years or more. So you can make some adjustments, and that's why I always have people give me the report, because it gives me the ability to confirm my assessments. Because now, if I'm building a team, would it be important for me to start paying attention to the behavior styles? Absolutely, okay? Questions on just an overall review of this? Thoughts? Okay. So I told you about the adapting style. What does adaptive mean? I've said it earlier.
Open to change.
Open to change, open to adjusting, right? So I know I have an S that's 70% S. And so the way they usually look at the reports is if it's over 50%, it's a leading characteristic. Does that make sense? Okay. So if I know that I have an adapting S, then I know that that person is going to be looking to support. It's looking to be steady, it's looking for consistency, looking for routine, all the things that I covered earlier, right? That make sense?
Yeah.
That's the adapting. Now, I go into the natural as I fall over. Oh, I didn't put it up there. It makes sense. If the natural, I believe I have in the next one. Let's go. Ah, it's missing. I dropped it. Okay, so there's a natural report in it. Let's just say, I'm going to change this word right here. And let's say it's a natural S. Do I know that if somebody's operating at the consistency, is that going to be their natural style?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So by the way, I lead with my D. I'm a natural I. I have an off-the-chart I. That's what makes me comfortable to sit in front of a class or stand in front of a class and speak. It makes me comfortable to be able to interact and adapt. Yet, if I'm not making sure that I'm filling up my I, is my natural happy? No. If I'm always, by the way, if I have to do numbers and reports, which I do, am I having any fun?
No.
No, I just do it because it's a requirement. Does that make sense? So let's do some exercises real quick. For those that are listening on the web, I'm going to walk you through some questions. Everybody's got paper, correct? Okay. I want you to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Good. So I'm going to put you two and you two in a group, and I'm going to put you four in a group, you four in a group, and I'm going to move you two back there. Okay? Yes, please. And I'm going to walk you. Go ahead and get in the group. So do you two want to move right here? Sure. Okay. And then you two. Yeah. I'm going to move right here. Yeah. And hot, right? You want to go in this way? Yeah. And this in the group. Okay, so those that are not in the audience, I remember there's a slide that says future notes. Okay, everybody ready? Okay, I'm going to give you some questions, and I want you as a group to answer the question. Okay? So, now by the way, first of all, how many of you know your behavior style? Okay, so share it with the group first. Share each of you. So I want you to write down each other's name and the behavior style next to it. You're an I. I have your report. You're an IF. Denise is a high C. Okay, so here's the natural work. So this is where the natural and adaptive comes in. Okay. The private is natural. The public is adaptive. Okay. So which one is you're not. You're a very high, but you're also an I. So IS. Okay. C. Everybody know each other? Got your behaviors? Okay. So the first question is, everybody ready? Yeah. Okay. The coach says you need to track and report your numbers. What do you say to the coach? When did you know? Nice. Thank you. Right there. So what's the answer? And it'll be different. The coach says report and track your numbers. Go ahead. What would you say? Probably how would you like to share that? Share with your group. Share with your group. Very good. Everybody share with each other. Second answer. Mindset is. I would. Did I give you enough time? Mindset is blank to my business. Put the word in the middle. Fill in the blank. Mindset is blank to my business. Crucial. That's going to be a recorder, please, for your teams. So this is for teams, not per person. Good job. Per person. No, I want to know per person, but I want you to for your group. I want you to see the differences. Make a statement. Fill in the blank. Okay. You're seeing some similarity and you're seeing difference. Mindset is blank. Is everybody answer ready? Good. Everybody answer? As a group. They're a little slower back there. You got more eyes back there. Okay. These are the next set of questions. Affirmation means blank. Fill in the blank. Affirmations mean blank. Share as a group. Some of you are like, what are affirmations? Affirmations are, I am a great agent. I am beautiful. Or an affirmation for somebody else. Okay? And those of you that are at home, go ahead and fill in the blanks as well.
My clients are
I understand that.
That's good. Affirmations for me are a challenge. I've yet to figure out
Okay. Ready for the next one? A mastermind group meeting is blank. If you grab time to blank. You're in a mastermind right now, by the way. You're in a mastermind right now, by the way. Okay, next one. Everybody ready? Not yet. Coach says you need to lead generate. What do you do? Most of you go hide. Oh, there you go. Do, right? Okay, make sure you go all the way around your group. I think this because you guys got 4 weeks of 5. That's why. Okay, last one. Is everybody around? Okay, this is the high I group over here. Okay, client says they want a specific price. What do you say?
What price is that? Yeah.
Share with the group. What do they say?
Great. You just go look at that price range.
Okay, did you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Daryl, every day. Thank you. That's good. You got it. Good. Okay. 1 more minute and you're done. You guys are done. You guys get out of the way here? Okay. Everybody good around? Yep. Good job. Okay. So let's start back over here. Miss Letty, tell me as a group.
She was the recorder.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Carmelita. Okay, you need a minute?
They must be eyes.
There is a few eyes. Yeah. Okay. Real quick. So, Carmelita, it's okay. What did you come up with numbers?
Numbers?
Yeah. What did you see?
We had 1, 2 S's, 4 I's, and a C and a D.
Oh, fun. Okay. And in the question about numbers, so I'm going to go back.
I don't even know what she meant by that.
We'll get back to that. Real quick, before I ask you the rest, Karen, how many did you have in your group of 1?
Okay, so we had 4 S's,
Okay.
4 C's, and 1 D. Is that how you want it?
No.
Right?
No, that's great.
Okay.
Over here, how many?
2 I's, a C, and a D.
Okay. So we had 6 C's in the room. We have 3 D's in the room. We have 6 I's in the room, and we have 6 S's in the room. Those are 2. You're using 2 letters, right? Or 1. Okay. So, by the way, do you see the dominating group here? Or the group that doesn't need to be dominated, right? Yeah, literally, right? So, let's go back to Carmelita real quick. On the numbers, what did you come up with in regards to what your team as a group, was there any similarities, was there any differences on what you would do with numbers?
Some of the responses were very the same.
Okay.
They had at least the same pattern.
And what was it?
Well, let me some of them were like, okay, let's think about this now, or let's ask more questions.
Okay.
Something, yeah, I was surprised on the 3rd question.
Okay, go ahead.
That the 3rd question, I don't know what the 3rd question was, but
Affirmation?
Oh, the affirmations is how we perceive our affirmations are so different.
So how you perceive it?
Yeah, I put on there that it's something that when I say it, I believe it, and then a lot they said positive, it's a motivator. You just have to say it. It's an encouragement, and none of them said they believed it. So they were like,
"Oh wow, that's exciting! Congratulations! So that was a good aha for you. Yay! Excellent. And tell me on the rest of them, was there anything that you wanted to share from the other questions?
The mastermind, again, that was a different, some people said life-changing, brainstorming, opportunities. I put meeting of the minds, coming with different ideas. That was, we all take away from whatever, like even from here in this class,
right?
Everybody's going to take away something
completely different
in how they perceive this class.
Absolutely.
And even if we have the same, letter, we still will perceive it differently.
So there's 360 different styles of the disc variations, by the way.
And only 4 letters.
There's only 4 letters. Okay? So there's 360 different styles of it, and then there's, I'm sure we don't know the infinite perception differences, right? So thank you for pointing that out. Is there anything else you want to share on this?
No.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for recording. Over here.
Okay. I have to try to remember.
Just what you want to share. Is there anything in particular you want to share out of all these?
The one thing that I thought was interesting is on for lead generation.
Okay.
One of our C's mentioned, we need to figure out a plan.
I agree.
And I thought that's a typical C.
Yeah.
Let's just think about how
Let's not go do. Let's plan it, right? Okay.
We get all caught up in the planning of it and never do it.
So we get.
It's true. I do it all the time. Give me an hour to get ready.
I'm like, okay, I want to do it, but I have to figure it all out. Make sure I have the proper systems and the proper forms, and then once I have that, then well, now I'm going to think of something else to do.
That's a whole nother coaching tool, right? So one of the things that you're both saying is that you spend a lot of time in ready, and set, and you don't go. Okay, so great.
I'll go do what they did.
Okay. There you go. Perfect. Thank you for sharing. Okay, anything else you want to share from your group?
No,
Great
pretty
job.
much the same things that everybody already shared.
Okay, over here. Miss Lori, were you a recorder?
Yeah, I just recorded it all. Okay, so the
Thank you,
numbers-
ladies.
Go ahead.
No, I was making sure they were paying attention. I was being the teacher, I naturally am.
Okay, for the numbers, we got what, why, and can I put it in colored graphs?
Oh, I love that.
Thank you for that. And then for mindset, I think the consensus was it's everything.
Everything, I agree. Okay.
And then for mastermind, all I remembered was mine, which I was helpful.
And which one do you lead with, by the way?
I had networking.
Networking. Okay. What else? Anything else?
Lead generation, my lovely partner here said, roll my eyes. Your team leader said it's time to lead generate.
Yes.
Then somebody else said, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
And then somebody else said, I'll prepare for an hour.
Prepare for an hour, right?
Let me get ready.
And I said, I'll go clean the cat box.
That's fun. Okay. This is why we schedule it regularly, right?
So specific price, we got, medium, great, let's go look. And then, the others, D says, are you pre-approved? And then this one says it's not going to happen.
That's awesome. Okay.
I didn't really, it's just
Yeah, it was
let's
like,
just go
great,
look,
let's
right?
go look. Yeah.
So I want you to hear something really, really, really important. And so I want to make sure the guy pays attention. So who said, great, let's go look. So did I say that it was a buyer or seller?
No. Just said client.
Oh, see, I was, yeah.
So I want you to hear that, right? So when she said, let's go look, she automatically assumed that it was a buyer.
Right.
So we want to put you in listing mindset more often than not.
And you could
So-
use that for listing too.
You could.
You say,
You're right.
great, let's go look at the competition.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good transformation, by the way.
That's good. Good. Sales in my blood. So affirmation we didn't do.
Okay.
This is very changing a negative mindset into a positive.
So what you're doing is reframing negative
Right.
to positive.
So if you have a reoccurring negative thoughts, and this is a big part of being mindful and know thyself, is that, affirmations have been very important in my life.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything that didn't get on the board that you wanted to share?
We forgot.
Who's saying?
May I just add, in lead generation, my first thing was host a party. Now, it's not hard. Host a party, schmooze.
She's not an I, right? That's awesome.
That's what you keep wanting to do. We need to have a party. We need to
Yes.
have a party. Let's have a barbecue. Let's have a bouncy tent. Come on.
Well, and by the way, so when I love how you said know thyself. And you said this is something you love to do. I watched you do it, right? So one of the things, if this is something that she loves to do, and she leads generate, how big was your party?
We had about 115.
115 people at your party. How many of those are clients?
Of the song?
75%?
No, I would say more like 30%.
So 30% of her clients she touched in one party.
See, that's awesome.
That's powerful numbers. Okay, and then how many do you have?
But my husband, by the way, wanted to object to bringing them over. And I said, no. I said, no. If I'm going to have a party, it's going to be purposeful. I'm going to pay for food or drinks, it's going to be purposeful.
And how many are you willing to share? How many do you have an escrow right now?
I am 9 in escrow. I've got 3 scheduled to close. No. I think 4 were scheduled to close the rest of the month. And I've already closed 6.
Thank you.
It's great.
Are you following me? Okay, know thyself. So when you're on purpose, and probably it is extremely coachable.
Let's get barbecue and
Carmelita is extremely coachable, even though half the time you feel like you're on purpose, but you're not on purpose, right?
I feel I'm a wreck.
Half the time. And yet, look at
times I feel like I'm a wreck. But sometimes
we'll have the reframe.
let me get like I make it hurt, and I make it hurt a lot. So if I say, okay, I can't do this anymore, then I have to say, if I don't do it right now, what's it gonna, what's gonna happen? not enough money in the bank account, not enough money to pay bills, not enough escrows. We don't know what's going to happen in 3 months. If I know, what I like to know is what's going to happen in, like right now in April, I'm not worried about April. I'm worried about May and June.
She's already filled up the
And
funnel.
I'm not, if I don't have anything there, that's where I make the pain. I don't have anything for June. I have to get something now to get me to June. Yeah.
Well, and the exciting thing is you are a SC?
I'm an FD.
SC. So, and I always say, because, in Keller Williams, they teach the DI are usually the normal team leaders. And I always say a purposeful, on-fire SC is always the exception to the rule. Because I've seen many SCs kick some serious tail when they want something or they want to be on purpose about something. And she's got a why out that just kicks her butt. Does that make sense? So, congratulations, by the way. So, thank you for sharing, too. Is there any other feedback in the group that you got to see from doing this group exercise? What did you get to see?
Everybody's thinking.
Say again?
Everybody's thinking.
Everybody's thinking.
The different things that you wouldn't have thought of.
Thank you.
That nobody can say out loud because we're all too busy running around in the first place.
That's very powerful. So what I heard you say is that it's caused you to have some awareness that you wouldn't have had before and to pay attention to it. Okay? As this group. Anyone want to share? What's Ms. Roxanne, I know you have something.
I don't. Everyone kind of said the same type of stuff. Everyone's pretty similar in a lot of ways,
So you had D, you had the D in your group, didn't you? Yeah, yes. Okay. Yeah, so
I mentioned something though. When I got started, this is like what my aha was, that somebody told me that you have to be a good agent, not an excellent agent, to be a good agent. I don't know who remembers. They said you have to have 4 escrows closing every month.
Awesome.
Nobody told me that the regular agent only made 1 sale per month.
1 sale per quarter. 1 sale per quarter.
9 a year.
Yeah, at most.
Okay, so they told me I have to be a good agent, not an excellent agent. You have to have 4 in escrow at all time. So the number 4 was always in my head because I just want to be a good agent. I don't want to show off. I don't want to do anything. I just want to have 4. Then Roy Merlino pointed my numbers in versus. I go, oh. Because I didn't know any better. I just thought I was just an okay agent. But then you're pointing out I could do more than that. So this year I'm going to double back. So it's,
Yay!
the numbers just changed. It's just, again, perception. My mindset was a virgin mind. And so I took in what was told to me that was okay to do. If somebody would have said that to be a good agent you had to have 80 in escrow, I probably would have done that.
Well, and the exciting part is, so I want, for those of you who have taken both, I want you to hear this terminology. People grow with the conversations you have around them. And what you just said is, I grew into what you set the standard for me. And then and you allow me to keep pushing that standard for you. Does that make sense? And the awesome thing is that when you put the people around you that are going to grow you into those conversations and you own them, and then you walk into the action for them, is that going to make a difference in your business and in your life? Make sense? So in this group, anything to share before we move on?
I was going to say the consistency between the different styles. I think it validates building teams or even getting a dialer or any number of things to see that it was very consistent.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you saw that these behavior styles relatively resembled each other.
Had similar answers all the way down, down the board.
Right. Yet, I love what Carmen said earlier, is that everybody's going to have a different perception of that same answer. Does that make sense? Because wherever your story is, whatever's going on in your life, you're going to perceive what you need from each of these stories. So great job for seeing it. Because you're building teams. You're helping recruit people in to help build teams. So great job. Anyone else?
Which is why you always have to read the book for yourself, because you will get different things out of it. Every single person will get different things. And that's why the mastermind is great, because after that, after you read it, you thought, oh, okay, that's a different side that I didn't see.
I didn't see that side. So how many people have seen, oh my goodness, Dennis, I think it's Dennis Quaid, Vantage Point? So if you haven't seen that movie, it's a great example of like 5 different people or so watching the exact same incident happen and seeing it from a whole different perspective. And they were all related. If you haven't seen the new Do You Believe movie, it's 12 different people all ended up together. I mean, everybody has a different story, a different thing that's happening, a different thing that's going on. Does that make sense? So, and by the way, the last comment is, I purposely did that because I want you listening focused, or what is going to be the purposeful. I wanted to see how you're going to perceive it and make sure you're on purpose with it.
No, that's why I wanted to answer that question, because I was thinking, I couldn't answer it right away. It took me back. I didn't understand. You're right. I wasn't sure if it was. I wasn't thinking seller. I wasn't thinking buyer. I was thinking what?
And by the way, who is this? Now, party. Now, by the way, one of the biggest things that you have to hear is, and this was from your team, right? Your group, is you said, what do we think? What do we ask? Now, by the way, if I walk up to Cammie and say, what were you thinking when you chose red today?
It was the clean sweater.
Now I'm doing that on purpose just because. Now if I just said, now red, and you enjoy wearing red, you're going to wear red more because that's just who you are, all right? In the same aspect, if I just decide if I'm an S and I'm scared of everybody, and I don't have some concerns, etc., I see her. What am I going to see? Stop. Yeah, it's going to be intimidating. I'm going to see red, right? And one of the things that you've got to be aware of, so if you go to a listing presentation and you're wearing red, are you going to possibly shut down your client?
Possibly.
Possibly. Yeah, you need to be, by the way, blue is one of the most trusted colors out there. Black and blue, go figure. So the browns and the whites are considered neutral. So those are safe. And by the way, when you're first meeting a client, now by the way, it's okay, Miss Karen, I'm telling you, I always compliment what she's wearing. And she has a design on her own, so she just shows up as that design. Does that make sense? That's okay too, if that's going to set your standard. Okay? So you get to decide who you're representing yourself, because you got 7 seconds to do it on the outside. I have a friend of mine that's going on an interview today, and I was having a conversation with her, and I said, you got 7 seconds to do this. After that, forget about it. After that, remember, whatever's coming from in here is what's going to matter. Because I love when my friend used to say, you show up to a listing presentation with your briefcase and your suit, are they going to think, would you just stand up for a minute, because I just have to compliment your suit. Do you think this is extremely professional?
Yes.
Wow.
Great trust.
Great job.
Check out the dog though.
I love this dog.
Very tired.
Oh, I love it. Is that a presentation, right? Now, if he walks in like that, love that. In the same aspect, he sits down and then says, well, so what are we going to do here? He walks in with this confidence, this presence, and then sits down and talks and doesn't know what he's doing. Is he going to shut himself down just as fast? Does that make sense? So you've got to be aware that, and your behavior style is to ask questions. That is always the right answer, is to ask questions. Always the right answer. There's a 3-second conversation you can have with the seller. I love one of my scripts. It says, to Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you absolutely have to sell your home. Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, will you price it at a price that will allow it to sell? Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, will you allow me to handle the sale for you? Yes. Sign here. It's that simple. I've done it for Sell My Hunter, by the way. So it's a matter of understanding what you're capable of and owning what the presentation. I'm a D. I'm comfortable to do that. Does that make sense? I like quick and to the point, right? So, did you see coaching moments? Listening. How many people actually paid attention? Or when they focused on their answer? Boy, I got a quiet audience there. You say again?
I said, that was his hair.
That was there.
At my group, these two were kind of take a little longer to answer. These two like. I think they were comparing your nose.
I'm the eye, I quit taking notes. I'm trying to get
Exactly.
But I was a little worried. All this time, I was a little worried that she was going to keep writing things down and not know where they belong.
So you were too busy delegating. Yet, how was your natural behavior stuff?
Mine is more so like us.
That's what they. Yeah, you're on purpose.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
purpose.
Those
And
two
my D
babies keep
comes-
you on focus.
Now my D comes in at the listing presentation.
Excellent. Okay. So when I'm talking about in the coaching world, there's two types of listening. The listening as I'm listening because I want to share my agenda with you. I'm here to pick up your listening, so I just need you to tell me okay. Or I'm here, that's the first listening that says I'm focused on me. That's the first type of listening. The second type of listening is I'm focused on you. So, Mr. and Mrs. Sauer, what about sound and tone is important to you? Now just shut up. If I'm in a consultation mode, does that make sense? Because if I'm so busy worried about what the next answer is, did I actually hear what they said? No. No. And the best way to make sure that you're listening is to learn to repeat. And say, so, Mr. and Mrs. Sauer, you said the most important thing is getting moved to go by your grandbabies or whatever it may be, right? Right. Then, so great. When did you say that was going to be the ideal time frame for you? When did you actually want to have the keys in your hand for your next one? Are you following me? Those are asking questions and getting out of the way of the transaction because it's not my why, it's their why that makes me gives me a job. You follow me? Okay. You got some interesting looks going on back there. Like, take it on. Adapting and identifying and validating. So, Lori, which behavior style do you feel like you're in today?
Adapting.
Very good. That was a great answer. Frank. Lynn. I know. I was going to say that. Like I said it 4 times today. Franklin, what behavior style do you lead with? Aye. And when you walk in the door and you got an S, what do you need to do? Go to
Listen to them,
Yes. And?
adapt.
That's a simple answer, which is perfect, by the way. In the same aspect, if I am a D, what do you have to be quick at? Get to the point. Very good.
Yeah.
Because if I don't validate, so Miss Lindsay, natural eye. Yes? You're like, if you tell me so. Sure. You're adorable. So if she walks in and she starts talking to an S and says it's a little bit too flamboyant, what's going to happen?
You know,
Intimidate.
It might intimidate, right? It may have, yeah, if she validates and says, you know what, she walks into an S and says, I love your pictures, or I love your carpet, or I love whatever it may be, and I start connecting with something that says I'm here to support, or I walk you through, by the way, this is how I'm going to support you. This is how I'm going to stabilize the process. Am I going to have a different impact? That makes sense? Can I borrow that for a second? What they're doing is they're going off of these graphs up here. How many of you got this report? Okay. I want to make sure that you understand when I'm saying natural and adaptive. I'm going off the Tony Robbins report and not off of this report. So if you haven't done the Tony Robbins, there is one. But basically it says there's a perceived, a public self, a private self, and, a public, a private, and a perceived self. So the perceived also falls into the adaptive. Would you agree? Okay?
So which one do you want to follow? And which one is the true you?
So the public self is the true you.
Okay.
The public self is the true you. Because if I'm not looking, you're always going to be an I, correct? Franklin? You're always going to be an I, buddy. Right? It's a good thing. When you're validating self, thank you for this, by the way. I'll give this back to you.
So I noticed this is like, it says, all the strengths, and I'm just reading like across, and it's like when you're in a presentation, if you just hit on all these, eventually you're going to hit the one that's important to them.
That's the truth.
That's
That's the truth.
Okay, right, stuck on that one, and you'll know, okay, they're an I, great, that's a
It's perfect.
yeah, and I just look at those strengths and I go, well, I kind of have that in my presentation the whole time. I talk about teamwork. I talk about and I get excited, enthusiastic, because if you act enthusiastic, you are.
They've had the same training.
And then the listening and teamwork and follow-up and plan, and then you say, this is the plans and systems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that.
Let's share that insight.
Aha, right there. You got to have this. I love it.
I'm good. I'm out of here.
Just kidding.
To me that the biggest gap would be between your I and your D. So if you're an I and you can figure out that you have a D, you better really press down the I. They don't want to talk about family. They don't want to talk about the color of right part. You know, you get what I'm saying. You have to really focus in on give me the facts, man.
Being on
facts.
point.
Yes.
Well, and so I'm going to show you a couple things, and if those of you that have the time, because we're going to run over, I get carried away in this. Can you tell I really enjoy teaching this? So for those of you, this is a quick concept of preparing your presentation. So in adapting into a relationship, for the determinant, for the Ds, like you're saying, they're going to want checklists, action plans, and models. And for the I's, they're going to want quotes, stories, and testimonials.
And they're also probably about the pictures.
They're absolutely. And if you can take a picture of a listing presentation in advance, or the home of the listing presentation and put it on their thing, it makes a huge impact. The S's are going to want purpose, meaning, and content. You know, they want to know that you showed up and you were purposeful. Okay? And they're also going to want, when I say meaning, they're going to want to know what the meaning is to them, not to you, to them. Okay? And then the compliant is going to want facts, stats, and citations. This is why the language of real estate is so important. Everybody follow me? Okay. Denise.
Copy of this.
It is, yes. And I'll print out the slide for you so you can have it. Matter of fact, I'll maybe get you a print and then you can print it for the meeting if you want. Okay. Questions on this?
No, they didn't come. They don't get them.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, yeah, that's a great point. I love that. I can totally support that. Now, by the way, before we even keep moving forward, how many of you got value from getting your tail here at 8:30 in the morning? Love that. Very good. Congratulations for being here. By the way, this is just a quick awareness. When you're building a team, you do want to start getting some awareness of how your team fits into all of this. This is what they call the DISC wheel, and this basically puts how you fit into this. So I fall into this area where the conductor, the implementer. Now I can operate on all of these. And the same aspect, when you are looking at where you fit into these things, and these are different reports. They're much more comprehensive reports. They also have a report that looks like this. When you're putting your team together, you can start putting people, the natural adaptive, onto the wheels. They're a little fuzzy, so I don't work on these slides. The other aspect of it is that if you've got somebody over here, you've got two on the same team, if they're not in the same positions, they're in the wrong position. Does that make sense? Okay. Got a quick time for about a 5-minute video. Ooh. Do we have the hookup for it? Will it work for the audio?
Yeah.
It'll work? Okay.
You got the HDMI in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it should.
Okay. So this is it's a more of a relationship video, but I think it'll be very key.
There are two types of people in the world. There are task-oriented people, and there are people-oriented people. So in a marriage, task-oriented people, again, are all about doing.
Volume.
Done. People-oriented people are all about people, relationships. They're the warm and fuzzy people.
Uh-oh.
Honey, I love you. I love
Okay.
you. You sure look nice today. You love me? Because they need that. They're people-oriented. The task-oriented person says, they love me, you do the dishes. Just do the dishes, vacuum. You know what, why don't you vacuum every once in a while? That's where you get this dichotomy of people.
What happened?
Is the speaker on?
I get up every day and I vacuum. And I clean the house, and then when my wife comes home, the house is all beautiful and it looks
You
great.
know what?
And then she doesn't say anything.
I may need to
So
email
now I
her.
vacuum and I do the dishes and I polish them. And now the house is immaculate. And then I go out and clean the van.
Okay,
And
so what I will do,
when I paint the house, I'm doing all these things. And my
can
wife
you
is
see
like,
it? You can't hear it, right?
you think I like to vacuum and wash? She's like, Yeah, obviously I thought you did. Otherwise, why would you do those things? But if she's not a task-oriented person, she just wants to know, I love you.
Okay. And so, well, the other thing I can do is email out the link so you guys can have it. That might be a better way
After
of doing
dinner,
it.
we put the kids to bed, I finally sit down.
And
I
what
just
it,
watch a little TV and talk
would
to
that
my
be
wife.
easier
She
for
gets
everybody to
up
hear
and
it
she
better?
does the
Okay.
dishes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
Here's our chance to talk, to communicate. What does she want to
Did you see that? You can see the video. You all get a kick out of this, right? Huh?
There's also the active and passive style.
Do you want me to keep going or do you want me to email it out to you?
Email.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to email this out.
Passive style,
And let me go back to this real quick.
At the meeting time.
Okay. You know, and maybe when you get figured out by then, I think it might be very powerful. So overall, what we learned, adaptive and natural are different, correct?
Yes.
And you see the value of it, right? Is it important to adapt to your clients? Did I give you an opportunity to experience that? Okay. Identifying the examples and behaviors. Do you have a pretty quick assessment to do that? Yes? Can you see how we could spend a lot of time in this class? Okay. Listening to the cues and opportunities. If I am speaking fast, are you going to get a clue of what type of behavior style I am? Okay.
I'm nervous one.
Yeah. Validate the person in the situation. So you want to honor, you know, that these individuals driven from Grass Valley, some people driven from Sacramento, including myself. So, you know, everybody wants to be honored and validated for their behavior style, for whatever it may be. Is that fair? Okay. Questions, thoughts, ahas, you want to walk away with? That's a lot, huh? Ms. Karen, you have that?
Just that it really does help to make us better salespeople when we can identify very quickly who our clients are.
Agreed.
And sometimes when I'm dealing with clients, if I've got them pegged, I'll even say that to them. I can tell you're a detail person, so what I want to do is I'm going to make sure you have a copy of this when you read today. I'm not going to go over every item now, but I'm going to give you a copy so that you can read it later.
Very perfect.
So, you know, identifying who they are, acknowledging who they are, and it puts everything at ease.
Absolutely. And so what you heard her say is, I didn't say, you know, you're a C. What I hear is, you're a detailed person and this is going to matter to you. Is that validation?
Yes.
Powerful. And you said the same thing, which was awesome. You said, I'm going to make sure I go, and I want to add one thought to that. I'm going to go through my presentation making sure I'm approaching and sharing for every behavior style. They're going to show me which one they relate with, and then I'll know how to pay more attention to that behavior style. Fair?
Yeah. I think also if you go into a listing presentation and not know which one, if maybe if you have a little bit of everything.
That's what she was saying earlier. Yeah.
And then that way, and then emphasize just that one point.
I think it'd be, yeah, I think
Yes,
it'd help
excellent.
too is if you would get more detailed on cues.
Yes. Okay.
So, you know, in the presentation is to be more detailed on, you know, verbal cues, body cues, you know, words that Dee say, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or,
I have tons of material.
yeah, that
on
would
it.
be really helpful. 'Cause
Okay.
then we can really,
Have
for me,
some more
that would
practice.
be helpful for me.
So, and I agree with that. So one of the things I'll share on that is, by the way, can this be like a intro class and a deeper class?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because if we would write into that and not get the good awareness of it and experience it, then you don't know what to be paying attention to, right? Yeah.
Well, and also to mention that people tend to live in their home the way their behavioral style is. So if you go in and someone has pictures smattered all over the refrigerator of every person they've ever met, it's probably an indication that they're high I.
Right.
So there's another class we can just do
Absolutely. On those
identify-
cues.
Yeah,
and
yeah, or even how people dress sometimes. will tell
It's
you.
very, very, very powerful.
I
Yeah.
do have to say, I'm a high eye, and I don't have pictures, don't have time.
Oh, yeah.
I plan all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying that that's just a,
Well, and perfect example, I think that it will be powerful because I have a lot of details of those information, so we will do a follow-up class for that information, and we will remind everybody exactly what we're writing today. Don't prejudge, assess, and make sure you have confirmation on the assessment. Because, and I had one of, thankfully he's still with me, but one of my first coaching clients, I had to learn through coaching him that the behavior style I thought he was, and then once I got a test on him and learned to get the test, I was wrong, right? And so the way I was coaching him was completely wrong for his behavior style. So you have to pay attention to that, because what people will grow in is based off of their coaching styles or their behavior styles. And then I've got another gentleman speaking for us in Maui that's doing a whole test on how you think, not just on how you behave, but how you think. So, and he's giving free assessments to everybody that goes to Maui with us on all of that. So, in case you don't have it on your radar for September 1st through 3rd, you want to go to Maui with us, okay? That's my first cell for today. As always, I do complimentary consultations. All those are in coaching. We'll have group coaching at 10:30, and we will have your opportunity 11. Any other questions for this class? Did we cover a lot? We went over just a few minutes. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Have a great day.
Stick around.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, yes. And thank you, Miss Letty, for bringing food. Thank you for joining us online as well.